Pregame.com.
All right, welcome back to Pregame.tv. Richard Saber joins me as we break down the Belmont. We're going to take a look at a couple live long shots. Everybody loves to find a live long shot, and when they hit the ticket, it's a nice payday for you. Richard, you have a horse that you think is very live on Saturday, and that is number 3, Overanalyze. Without overanalyzing it, tell me why you like Overanalyze.
I like him for so many reasons. A lot of reasons why I like this horse. First of all, he's run here at Belmont and he's won. Second of all, he gets J.R. Velasquez riding for Todd Pletcher and his main owner, Rapoli. I mean, this is a great hookup. So he's had 8 races. He's run with the best horses here, and he's won 4 of the 8 races. But he has one of the strongest angles for me. This horse has won 4 of his 8 races. He won, lost, won, lost, won, lost, won, lost. This is definitely his win race. JR knows his track. He'll have this horse in a perfect spot turner for home. He'll rate him perfectly, and he's not going to be that far back. He's going to be sitting mid-pack. You're going to see a great run from this horse in the Belmont Stakes, and I think 12-1. Not very often you get 12-1 with J.R. Velasquez riding for Todd Pletcher.
I can't disagree with that. Earlier today, I sat down with Stephen Christ of Daily Racing, and this is actually the horse he likes as well. My only problem with the horse, and a lot of people have pointed out, and it's a great thing to point out, that he had some road trouble in the Kentucky Derby. Got shuffled back in that race, and then once he finally got to shake loose, he actually recorded the second fastest final furlong in the Derby. And so that's impressive. The only horse that ran a faster final furlong was Orb. Now, my problem with that is, and we see this so often in the Kentucky Derby, that people will talk about somebody that had road trouble and then they shook out late and were flying. Well, if you got road trouble the whole race and you can't get out till late, and then you're flying late, and it was a race like we saw in the Kentucky Derby where speed was all over the place at the beginning of the race, you should be flying at the end of that race because you were never used at any part of the race. So even though on paper it's a good reason to say, hey, this horse can improve, it's also a built-in excuse that, you know, he really didn't show you anything, because if he didn't have any pace at the end of that race, you got a major problem with the horse. But obviously, the connections like him, Todd Pletcher, very smart trainer, and as you said, for a guy to know the Belmont racetrack, getting J.R. Velasquez, definitely huge for this horse. So I can't totally knock him. I'm not as fond as him as you are. My long shot in this race, and then you can get the poke holes in him, is number 11, Vijak. Now, this is a horse that absolutely, in my opinion, had no shot in the Kentucky Derby. Why did he have no shot in the Kentucky Derby? Well, first of all, he drew the outside post position 20. Now, he was able to move into the 19 spot, one spot, whenever they had the scratch of Black Onyx, but with that large field, being a speed horse that likes to leave for position, he had to use the horse hard leaving the gate to try to get position before the first turn. And then we all know what we saw in the Derby. They went suicide fractions, and here was a horse that was up near the front of the pack, and then he faded late. So as we have done with a lot of the horses from the Derby, if we're forgiving from what happened in the Derby and scratch that race out, you have a horse that's 5 for 5 hitting the board in his lifetime starts. And 4 of those 5 were wins. And I like a horse that can find the winner's circle. I think that this horse, with the 11 post position, is going to get an easier trip. He has tactical speed that he'll be laying off that first set of horses with the speed, so he'll have a jump on the closers. And the only knock or question on Vijak is, can he get the distance? But I say, if he couldn't get the distance, why did they skip the Preakness, which would have been a shorter race, and point to the Belmont?
Well, that's your only knock, that he might not get the distance. I have a lot of knocks. They skipped the Preakness because he couldn't win.
Okay.
He couldn't win the Derby. You make a point where he's won 4 races. All 4 races were at Aqueduct. All 4 races that he won, he beat absolutely nobody. Nobody. The one race that he ran against good horses was in the Wood Memorial. He had every chance, a perfect trip Rosario gave him. All he could do was finish 3rd behind Verrazano and Normandy Invasion, that they showed they're not that good. He could hit the board, but he won't be hitting the board with my money.
All right. Well, you know, that's the beauty of Longshots, that, you know, I think a lot of people are going to dismiss him and overlook him, and I think he's going to be a big bomber price. And I'm going to be throwing him in on a few exactas and tries to light up that tote board and try to get me some value.
Since I respect your opinion, he's going in on my tickets and my tries, but not on top.
Oh, okay. No problem. All right. Now, that was a couple live long shots. We're going to come back, wrap things up, tell you who we think is the best shot to win the race and how we think the race is going to go. That's up next when we wrap it up with our best bets for the Belmont.